trees are such an icon of Australian bush. They're so statuesque. But as any gardener knows, it's very difficult to have a garden that looks good under gum trees. They rob the soil of nutrients and water. They sometimes give just too much shade to have a really fine garden. However, this is a fabulous garden. They have succeeded in growing cottagey plants and perennials under gum trees. It's just outside of Dromana on the Mornington Peninsula, and it's something worth seeing. We usually think of cottagey plants as being a typical English garden, and certainly this garden does use a lot of introduced plants, but it does have that distinctly Australian feel because of these fabulous gum trees. And the success of the garden is because all of the plants underneath those trees have been planted in large drifts to create a sea of colour. There's a great mixture of gum trees in here, but that one is a very special one. It's Eucalyptus ovata, the swamp gum, and have a look at that thick, gnarled bark. It really gives the tree great character. I can't tell you how hot it's been this week. 35 degrees on an average, 41 at topped. And it's been very dry. We haven't had a rain in here for a long time. Under this local tea tree, you've got this butte ground cover. It's got a terrible name. It's called Plectranthus autumnalii, but it's a beauty because it will grow just about anywhere. It's got a fabulous purple to the back of the leaf. It's a really good one. Another good one is the Hellebores foetidus. Hellebores foetidus is a beauty, a mound-shaped plant, interesting foliage, interesting flowers. And right next door is a campanula called Elizabeth. And in such a dry, shady spot, they do very well indeed. Graham Cook created this garden. It's hard to believe that this garden was started only a year and a half ago. Graham, what was here before all the plants were established?
Most of the area was thick melaleuca, just like you see on this side, Jane, and it spread across here a little bit. We cleared it for the pathway, which we decided to put in simply because we saw there was a large tree there lining up with the archway this end, and it seemed like a nice place to put the path through the melaleuca, and it crosses the main part from the house and gives some structure to the garden.
So what was the soil like?
Well, the first thing we did was dig it well, and down to well over spade depth, and we put some organic matter in it, mainly mushroom compost. And then we mulched it every year for now 10 or 12 years with mushroom compost. Big, thick, heavy layer, which then rotted down into the soil, and then it got topped up the following season.
And you do that every year?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Now, what about watering too? How often would this space get watered?
Well, it depends on the weather, and in a really hot summer, like we've been having, we have been doing it about every 4 days. We just do it with a sprinkler, which clacks around. The shifter hose is no automatic system, and that seems to be enough. It hasn't been done for a week in this area now, and it does actually need it. You can do it with a touch-up.
Now, you've chosen plants, really tough plants, according to the situation.
Yes, obviously being dry and we not want to put a lot of water onto it, we've got to have something that can take the conditions. This is a lamium called White Nancy, which is quite a good doer in these conditions. And further along the track we have a heuchera. This one's called plum pudding, but there's several new varieties of heuchera around, and most people tend to think they need a lot of water, but we found they don't.
Tough, and they take the shade.
They do. And I noticed, Jane, that there are a couple of anemones wilting over there. Now, anemones are really not the most appropriate plant for very, very dry soils, as you'll know. And we have tried to select plants that are suited to dry soils, but the watering we do is limited because these plants are pretty tough.
Although it grows into quite a big mound, it's Helichrysum petiolare, and it's a really good plant for dry shade. If you keep it cut back and it'll grow these beautiful little soft felty leaves, and it's rather good. But do keep it cut back because it can get rather overgrown. In front is a good one for dry shade. It's the silver carpet ajuga. Now, ajuga has these dear little spiky mauve flowers. This one's got a very special silvery leaf, and it looks rather good. And the whole thing of this garden goes to show that you can have success if you pay attention to improving the soil and selecting the right plant species. You can grow many, many things under the dry shade of gum trees.
Give me a home among the gum trees with lots of plum trees. A sheep or two like a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front.